Hey, real estate agents, welcome to Making a Smarter Agent, your program to find out all the tips and trends as told by the great ones in real estate. What's a great one? Someone that's able to make money and still keep their head on straight. Let's face it, this is a tough business. We interview tough people who seem to make it look easy.
Well, hello and welcome to Making a Smarter Agent. This is a place where agents come to learn from other top producers. I'm really happy to have on the phone with me today, Andrea Lucas. Andrea, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic,
Thanks
fantastic.
for having me.
Thank you for being here. It's great. Top producer in New York City. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about your career in this business, celebrities and all that. But why don't you give us an overview of who you are and how you got started in this crazy business of ours?
Okay. I went to school for education. I majored in education. And when I got out of school, I went to school in Boston. I moved right into Manhattan. And I taught for a few years. But I mean, I love the kids, but I didn't think teaching was for me. I really wanted to be in the business world. I wanted to be out with people. And so I made the switch. I always loved architecture, and I always loved real estate, and the rest is history.
Talk to me a little bit about, one of the things that I always ask my guests is just how they really get to make the phone ring. In your case, it's a little bit different, because you're working with so many celebrity clients. Can you walk us through just a couple of them that you might be working with now?
Well,
or that you have worked with recently?
Let me tell you how it started. When I first was in the business, I was brand new in the business, and I was working at a small firm, and I was working in the basement. You know, I was like new kid on the block, and they said somebody's here to list his lofts. It was a storefront operation up on Madison Avenue, about 80th Street. It was Halstead, and I, came upstairs to meet this guy that wants to list his lofts in Tribeca, and I'm taking his name, and he said, "My name is Martin Scorsese." I'm spelling it out. Oh, I said to him, "Oh, you're Italian, right?" Not even realizing who it was. This was like about 26 years ago. And sure enough, it was Martin Scorsese, and I listed his 3 lofts in Tribeca. Nobody even knew where Tribeca was in those days. Tribeca wasn't hot the way it is now. And I wound up selling one of his lofts to my hairdresser. And when I sold the loft, he then asked me to find him a townhouse. And I sold him a townhouse uptown. And
well, let's slow down just for a second. Martin Scorsese, 26 years ago, was really Martin Scorsese. I mean, he had made The Godfather. He had made all these.
Days. I was kind of naive in those days. I mean, I think when I forget what movie he had just, The Color of Money he was working on when I first started with him. So that was a long time ago. Yeah.
And he didn't have a go-to, because the agents that are listening to this now are probably saying, wait a minute, this was like a cold call. She gets this Italian, it was really Martin Scorsese. And he gave you the business like that. I mean, so I think it's important that everyone realize you got to be receptive.
Yeah, I mean, he came in and he listed his lofts, and I wound up selling one, and when I sold it, then he used me to find him a townhouse. And after that, then he got separated from his wife. I worked with his ex-wife, who produced all his films, Barbara DeFina. I worked with his ex-girlfriend, his right-hand guy, and then from him, his attorney and Lenny Kravitz's attorney were in the same firm, and then I got Lenny. And I've been Lenny's broker. Yeah, and I've been Lenny's broker for over 25 years.
Okay, so we've got the Scorsese family. You got in through an attorney. Was the introductions initially through Martin Scorsese or through his attorney that got you Lenny Kravitz?
Through his attorney.
Through his attorney. That's great. So again, if you were to advise someone, I mean, you never set out to be the celebrity real estate agent.
It just happened.
It was never a goal. You were lucky.
I was lucky, but I worked hard and I did a good job, and he used me, after I sold his loft to find something to buy, and then he referred me to all his immediate, people in his immediate circle there.
Sure.
And that's how.
Sure.
Yeah.
the lesson here, I think, is that the power of one. I mean, this one client really, celebrity or not, is really taking you pretty far.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. That's.
And then when people hear you working, with a celebrity, then you get to know all of their money managers, their financial advisors, their managers, their attorneys, and one recommends the next, and that's how it all snowballed.
And there's something inside me, and I'm not. These are my words, not yours. That I would look at. I don't want to say bragging rights, but kind of like there's a little cachet to having this as a client. I mean, I'm certainly impressed. And does that help you when it comes to getting, the average Joe, the financial advisor that might have $1.5 million budget for a small apartment, or are you beyond that at this point? What's?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I sell everything. I sell $1.5 million, and I sell 20 million and 30 million, and I work with people from, just not people in the entertainment business. I work with people in finance and everything, and all kinds, real estate, all kinds of businesses.
So terrific. So celebrity or not, what do you consider your number one source for business today? Obviously we're fast forwarding through a long career, or just we can maybe even say just the beginning of the career. But you've been in the business for a while. What's really making the phone ring for you?
It's mostly referrals. Referrals. I do send out newsletters. I mean, today it's a different market. I think this year has been one of the toughest markets in New York, at least. That I've seen, and I was in the business when the market crashed, and I mean I did very well after that. This year was a very tough year.
Sure.
I think you really have to market yourself too.
And would you consider yourself primarily a listing agent, a selling agent, or how does it break down for you? Give me like approximate percent of places.
No, I do about 50-50. I would say. I work with buyers and I work with sellers.
Yeah, but today, obviously, a broker is listening to this and they're saying, "Boy, I really wish I had some buyers out there." If it's becoming that buyer's market, is there anything that you're doing to try and facilitate more leads from the buyer market, or do you just stay the course and the market turns?
No. This time I'm doing a lot. Well, I'm always calling old buyers and catching up with them, and people hear your name, and they don't forget about you, and if they, oh, hey, I have a friend that's looking, or my brother might be looking, or, I reach out to old buyers. I do a lot of newsletters. I send out postcards. I mean, I think just being out there and meeting people wherever you go, you never know. I mean, everybody likes to talk about real estate, so.
Are you doing anything digitally? That's all the rage now, is doing email blasts, and, I'm on a podcast here, so I'm asking.
Yes, that's what I mean when I say I do a newsletter. That's all digital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got it. So do you do traditional snail mail as well? Do you spend any money on letters and brochures, advertisements?
I send out postcards to buildings I've sold in.
Okay.
Talking about the market, talking about if I sold something new, I listed something new, all that type of stuff.
Walk me through. Do you have an assistant? Are you working with a team at all? Tell us about that.
I had a team last year. And with two girls, but I guess I was lucky for them. They both got married, and they're both one has had a baby. So I'm just on my own right now. I have an assistant, but I'm just on my own.
Is that something you're looking to change or change up for 2020?
I don't know. I'm thinking about maybe doing a team for next year. I'm not sure. But I think the next time, if I'm going to do a team, it's got to be someone on my level, somebody that's on this, that has a lot of business too, and maybe we could put two of us together.
Okay, so you're bringing it to a full circle here to a very good point. I've oftentimes wondered, if I'm going to be on a team or create a team, from everyone's standpoint, 1 + 1 needs to equal 3. In other words, you need to either be making more, having more time. Why would someone I could see how the younger person who doesn't have the same level, or you're getting some less active lead that you might want to give. why would a senior person join a team, whether it's Andrea Lucas or Edmund Bogen or anyone? What's their motivation for joining you?
To double your business, maybe, just to two heads are better than one sometimes, and just to double the business.
It's a very, very good point. Do you do any like outbound networking? Do you go to events? Is there any holiday party stuff?
Oh yeah.
What's going on this holiday season?
Well, there's a lot of parties all over, and so I've been doing that. Usually I travel a lot. I didn't travel much this year. I would have been down at Art Basel, although there's a million brokers down there. So
you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people who have been down from other offices because they've gotten business from agents down here. Do you get a good referral market from within the real estate industry? In other words, as an agent from California, especially since you've done Martin Scorsese and Lenny Kravitz, have any agents out of state referred to you saying, wait a minute, I got,
not
somebody
recently,
coming in town?
No, not recently. I think I have to go out to LA and meet some of the brokers out there. I know some. I know a lot of Miami brokers.
Okay.
And I'm also part of sports and entertainment at Douglas Elliman.
Tell us about that for those that don't understand what the Douglas Elliman Sports and Entertainment Division is.
Well, Sports and Entertainment Division is brokers that have also worked with a lot of celebrities or sports people. I mean, for instance, right now I have David Cohen's apartment. He was a pretty famous pitcher from the Yankees. I have his apartment in Greenwich Village for sale right now. But so we're all supposed to network and do things together.
Sure.
It's about networking.
And how did you come upon David Cohen? What was the introduction to that person?
I know his wife. Yeah.
Okay. No, listen. Sometimes it's just a simple thing, right? It doesn't take. It doesn't take that much, right. And that's terrific stuff. And especially if you could spin it into more opportunity. What advice would you give somebody that's getting into the business and they're like, wow, Andrea's done so much. She's connected with so many people. Is there like a daily ritual that you go through or anything? And the answer could be no, but I'm just curious if there's.
I think just go out and try to
what
meet
makes
as many
you win.
people as you can. Be very social and try to meet as many people as you can. That's when I first started in the business. I was in the business for a month and I sold 3 apartments. And it's because I called everyone I know and I told them I'm in real estate now. And it's really just go out there and meet people, talk to people.
Yeah. I mean, so hold on. The first month you were in business, you sold 3 apartments?
That's right. I sold 3 apartments.
Wow. That's amazing. Were you Rookie of the Year that year? Was that,
No.
Did you get a prize, a gold watch or something? Something along those lines?
So much then, but, no, but I did very well. I think I have a good eye for what people like. And in those days,
amazing.
We just work with buyers. I have a good eye for what people like. That's what I was told when I first started.
Do you believe that today's buyer is looking for some type of specialty knowledge? Like, for example, I'm hearing people marketing themselves in Brooklyn, or if you're Lower Manhattan, you're just Lower Manhattan or just the Upper West Side. Do you have a territory that's your primary stomping ground, or
no?
Talk to me about that.
I sell all over Manhattan. I mean, I sell more. I sell a lot downtown and a lot Upper East Side, but I've sold Upper West Side. I've sold Chelsea. I've sold. I mean, all over, Tribeca, Soho. I even sold Harlem, and I really don't know Harlem well. I've sold even in Financial District 1 apartment because that's. But I think today you have to be all over. And I also I was on Ian Traeger's building. I at Christie Street, which is the Lower East Side, and I was saying, how am I ever going to sell these out there? It was really expensive. I mean, the least expensive apartment was $8 million. But it was a great product, and it's a great area, and I sold them very quickly. I was lucky.
What year was this?
And I worked very hard. I mean, you have to work very hard.
What year? What year was that sale? The Ian Traeger building?
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago. Okay, so
when I came back to Elliman, they hired me to go on that building because Howard Lorber knew I had a lot of celebrity clients, and that's kind of a celebrity product.
That's amazing. That's great. What do you think? I mean, you're talking about how difficult the market is now in New York. Do you? Nobody has a crystal ball, but I'm just curious to see if you could identify, or if you have an opinion as to how long this slowdown is going to be. If we're heading for a recession, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, what they say, I mean, it's all about supply and demand. And, I listen very carefully. We have our quarterly sales meetings with Jonathan Miller, who's does all the comps, and, he's an appraiser. He's like he's a big appraiser in Manhattan. And it's about when all of the supply gets sold, or gets absorbed, and because there's a lot of new buildings in New York, and they say about maybe it's going to take at least 3 to 4 years for all of these apartments to be sold.
But do you think it's really just that? I mean, everyone's talking about taxes. Everyone's talking about politics.
Yes, that's another factor is that the market is tough here now because of the taxes, and now the mansion taxes, they've raised those. When you're buying an apartment, over like $1 million, and then it goes up 3 million, 8 million, whatever. So all of that has hurt, and the uncertainty in the country right now with what's going on. It's also an election year. We're coming into an election year, and so all of that hurt the real estate market, and it's the supply and demand. Things are priced so high, and it's the sellers getting used to this new market. And buyers think, the prices, they could get everything for a steal, so they're bidding very low. And, the sellers are starting to come around a little bit. But
well, look, it's
all of the above.
It's not just there. It's Connecticut. It's Long Island. It's all I mean, I speak on a fairly regular basis with all these, so don't take it too personally.
Oh, okay.
No, well, and listen, obviously in Florida, what's interesting down here, the biggest challenge is trying to get when you can't sell something in New York, or someone can't sell something on Long Island, that person can't buy in another market. So there's a whole new set of opportunities now for renters, or for people that have rental properties, because I've met now 4 people that can't do that. So, okay, well, look, we've got just a few minutes left here. I know the time always moves on these. So, Andrea, just tell me a little bit about the properties that you've got listed right now. Anything that you want to highlight to the listeners?
Yes. I have 3 apartments at 135 West 52nd Street, which is between 6th and 7th, which the location is a little challenging. Because it's more of a business location. However, it's very near Central Park, and it's great for foreigners or people, it's a great pied-à-terre location. It's a beautiful new building. The finishes are magnificent. They're really beautiful, very high-end finishes. I have a duplex penthouse in there asking $12.5 million. We just reduced it. It's about 4,373 square feet with double height ceilings, very dramatic, great apartment. Then I have a 4-bedroom in there, which is about 3,700 square feet, asking $8 million. And then we have a 3-bedroom in there asking 4.6. And they're all sponsor units. So what's great, there's no board approval. You can move in immediately. And the floor through, the one for $8 million, is fully furnished. So, I mean, you don't have to bring anything there, just your clothes. I mean, it was staged beautifully. I mean, even dishes and linens. And so those are great apartments. And then I do have David Cohen's apartment downtown, which is a gorgeous 4-bedroom.
Yeah, no,
8.6.
I will put I will put your contact info into the show notes so people can see just how to reach you, and obviously see all that great Great stuff. Just a couple last things regarding working with celebrities. Is there any difference between them and the rest of the world as far as their expectation of service, or how do you treat a Martin? Tell me.
They're regular people just like us. They're all regular people. I mean, I work with from Cher to Kelsey Grammer to Wyclef Jean to Hank Azaria. I could go on and on and on. Tons. P. Diddy, tons. And they're all just like us. They're regular people. What's good about them, they don't have a lot of time, and they usually know what they want. They zero in on what they want. I mean, that's good, and they make a lot of money. So some of their money is almost like funny money, you know.
They weren't. It wasn't like the Hollywood story. They throw a hissy fit or treat you terribly. I mean, you think the treatment's been good?
Everyone I work with is so nice. I'm myself with them. They're just regular people. I mean, we go for lunch after. They're, you know, it's. I mean,
sure.
They're real regular people, just like us. You know.
Was P. Diddy a buyer or a seller?
He was. Actually, I was working with his girlfriend at the time, Kim Porter. I don't know if you know who she is. She's the mother of his kids, and she just passed away, which is very sad. I heard she died this year. Yeah, but so he came around with her. He wasn't really my. You know, he would come around with us, but she was the client.
Yeah, and Hank Azaria, I think was.
I sold him a loft in Soho. He's a really nice guy. And Kelsey, I worked with for many years. Kelsey Grammer.
Well, this is fascinating. I think it's an amazing career that you have, and it's certainly amazing hearing, and certainly great getting to know you, get to be friendly, at different events. And I certainly hope to see you at other ones. And thank you for being on Making a Smarter Agent.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thank you for listening to Making a Smarter Agent. Do me a favor. If you liked Making a Smarter Agent, please go to Apple Podcasts or any of the podcast services you might be listening through and give me 5 stars. I look forward to seeing you next time. And remember, connect with Rain Nation, that's RAIGNATION, on Facebook. It's part think tank, part group therapy for realtors, all coaching, and it's affordable. Please tune in again next week to listen to another exciting episode of Making a Smarter Agent.